Your Health Strategy is topical conversations about healthy living in the metropolitan St. Louis area. Your Health Strategy is hosted by Erica Trokey, owner of Trokey Pilates Studio in Newtown, St. Charles. And now, Your Health Strategy.
Hello and welcome to Your Health Strategy. I'm your host, Dr. Erica Trokey. I own Trokey Pilates Studio and I have a doctorate in chiropractic from Logan University. According to cancer.gov, nearly 41% of all women and men born today will be diagnosed with cancer at some time during their lifetime. With me today is Linda Ditzler. She's a certified cancer coach and the director of the St. Louis chapter of American Holistic Nurses Association. Welcome, Linda. It's great to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about what qualifies you to be a cancer coach?
Well, first of all, I am a nurse and an educator as well. My intention as being a nurse was to work in oncology, and I did that, bedside nursing, for some years, and saw a need that I felt like I couldn't fulfill as a bedside nurse, and perchance fell upon an organization that is out of Canada called the National Association of Professional Cancer Coaches. It is a registered not-for-profit organization and a group of licensed health practitioners, doctors, psychologists, medical doctors, oncologists, nurses, and nutritionists that have formed a group to present protocols to empower cancer patients to live fully and hopefully progress into remission and a longer life.
Okay, so you're really geared towards helping patients find that holistic approach in their treatment, correct?
That's the bulk of what I do.
Okay, and how long have you been acting as a cancer coach or serving in that capacity for patients?
My cancer coach certification has only been since 2009. My work in nutrition and coaching has actually been for about 30 years.
Okay, wonderful. Can you share with me a little bit more details around the type of patients that you work with or where patients are at when they come to you for your services?
Typically, patients will call me that have already started treatment, my preference is that they call me before they started treatment, because there are some things that they could be educated on that would benefit them enormously before they start treatment.
Would you be willing to elaborate a little bit on what those types of things are?
Absolutely.
To share with the audience?
For instance, and I do have people that, and that's growing, my numbers are growing in that sense, the word gets out, because not so many people know what a cancer coach is or has ever heard of one.
Yeah.
For instance, there are some critical factors that need to be taken care of before you want to start a chemotherapy. So for instance, you want to know what your tumor cells look like. Basically, you want to know what your enemy is made up of. So you really, and there are testings that you can do that a lot of oncologists actually don't do or people aren't aware of. They can define that. So you want to see what type of tumor population you have. And then there are also sensitivity tests that will actually tell you what, if you're going to go the chemo route, which chemos will actually be the most sensitive to that you'll respond to. So those are really important.
So it kind of helps take the guesswork out of which direction to go with the chemo treatment.
Absolutely.
Is that kind of what it helps give some guidance with?
Right.
Okay.
Because it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all.
Fantastic. So can you give me maybe an example of a patient that you've worked with, maybe a success story of helping out and guiding them, what kind of path you helped them through?
Sure. Every patient, like I said, is a little bit different. I try to keep a specific 6-step type of a protocol with each patient, but I delineate or take away as each patient comes up, because again, what I said is everyone's so individual. So they may have other disease factors involved besides their cancer, so they're going to need particular things. But I walk them through learning about the cancer, like I just told you about.
Okay.
And sometimes they don't even understand their pathology report. So we go through all that, those type of preliminaries. Then we start to strategize. What kind of things? What are your options? What kind of things can you look at? Most everyone, 99%, of my clients they're afraid. I mean, as soon as you hear the word cancer, it strikes fear into your heart. So,
Exactly.
so you go in and I try to eliminate that fear, and say, look, you've got some time. You do have some time. So here's the process that we're going to go through. We're going to get educated about it, so you know how to talk to your doctor, so you know how to what's happening inside your body, because they don't have the time.
Right.
We're going to strategize, and you're going to have a plan, and it empowers them once they get that plan. Then we start looking at self risk factors, which sometimes can even lead into some plausible causes of their cancer. We look at some nutritional changes and some lifestyle changes, and we look at risk factors outside in their environment that maybe could change to build up their immune system, and so that whether they're doing chemo or whether they're not, they're enabling their body to start to balance itself and heal itself. And then towards the very end of the protocol, we get into more of the mind-body connection and learning how to live a very fulfilled life.
Wonderful. Can you elaborate a little bit more on maybe the types of holistic treatments that you guide patients towards or educate patients on? So they've got different options on where to head with their treatment if they want to take a more holistic approach?
Sure. I do build a team around each client after I introduce them to different modalities, and those modalities can range from acupuncture to qigong to meditation, yoga, those type of they're kind of more like on the mind-body side. And whatever they like, it could be art therapy. It could sometimes I have clients who they actually have some really deep-rooted emotional conflict going on, which, by the way, science has revealed there is a very strong connection to that. So we deal with that too. I'm not the all person, but I am the resource person, and I have a network of people that I can refer them to for further assistance and to take them deeper into those modalities. But I will introduce them to those things to give them a feel for whether that will work for them or not.
Wonderful. I mean, that just sounds like a wonderful thing for any patient that just got news that they just have cancer or that they just found out that they have it. So they can kind of be a launching pad for, like, when they meet with you, it's kind of a stepping off point per se as to where do they need to head and all of the education that goes with it too.
Well, and I'd like to add that I'm sort of a bridge between clients and their doctors, but I'm also because a lot of people think that maybe I'm like against what conventional medicine's doing, but it's not that. I do have a great relationship with some of the oncologists. Some are like they're not so like into it,
Okay.
but there are many therapies that are evidence-based practices that other doctors have used. There's controversy among oncologists about what therapies may or may not work. So even within that realm, there are issues. So what I do, and I work very hard, and people that are related to my organization, we stay on top of the latest therapies and evidence-based technologies that will assist these people, with everyone. So I just want to add that because any new therapy any new study, whatever it is, if it's been proven that it works for human beings, it can take 10 to 20 years to come into mainstream medicine. And if you have a loved one with cancer or you have cancer, you don't want to wait 10 to 20 years to use what's there and working now.
Definitely. We're about to need to wrap it up. Is there anything, last details you want to share with our audience?
Well, I would like to leave this, that if one of our audience has cancer or they know someone with cancer, to really stop and take time to look at what things are available. Don't just settle right away. Don't let fear rule you. Use your thinking and move forward. There are answers to your issues.
Definitely. Excellent advice for us, Linda. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
You're watching Your Health Strategy, and we will discuss another cancer alternative with our next guest when we come back.
I got no balls to lose. He's in B-Fit.
Shocking. Drives it road all the time. Just had a few drinks. Just can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear. We're just buzzed. Just buzzed? You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. He'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really? No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shocking.
Adopting a new pet is a rewarding experience. And shelter pets make super pets. Your new best friend will steal your heart, bring you happiness, and enrich your life for years to come. You can make a difference in the life of an animal. Adopt and bring home a shelter pet today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
Welcome back to Your Health Strategy. Before the break, we spoke with Linda Ditzler, a cancer coach. Now I'd like to introduce our next guest. He discovered he could either give in to cancer or fight it. Clint Willett now owns Infrared Biomat Medical in St. Louis. Welcome, Clint. It's great to have you here with us today.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you got started in your business?
Certainly. So, in 2001, when I was 29, I discovered that I had colon cancer. And as a result of being able to research, I was at Washington University doing graduate work, and it was basically a wake-up call. It was a life changer. I wanted to be able to research what it is that actually causes cancer and other holistic alternatives to complementary therapies that could be used by myself or other family members in the community to be able to really address the root causes of cancer. So that was what was the link in to how I discovered far infrared technology.
So during your wake-up call and your kind of search for therapies and alternative treatments, that's when you discovered the infrared biomat technology, correct?
Yeah, yes, that's correct. After a couple of years of really researching A to Z, to being able to go through and see, well, what therapies actually are the new therapies and new technologies, as well as the tried and proven things that have been working.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about the biomat and how it functions exactly and what it does to help with cancer patients?
Certainly. So there's a couple different aspects, and one of which is detoxing. Most cancers are connected with a level of the cellular level not being able to detox properly. And whether it's cellular inflammation or whether the toxins are not able to fully release themselves, as well as each individual person is so unique and each cancer is so unique. So in terms of how infrared started, it started 40 years ago, and whether it was the medical technology in NASA or in some different hospitals, over the course of the years, it was a lot of anecdotal research in the beginning. And then recently, as far as 4 years ago, some Fuji Medical came out with some pretty profound studies that actually documented the reversal of cancer and cells shrinking, and that's kind of based on going back to a Stanford oncology study, Harvard oncology study, but these are dating back to 1991 and a Nobel Prize in medicine as well. So there was a whole host of things. The biomat works on invisible light, which is invisible sunlight. Photons are always around us. And the scientists found that when that is pulsed inside the body with ions and heat, that over a period of time at a certain temperature level, once each person establishes their own protocol, that the researchers were actually able to document scans before and after of tumor cells dissolving between a period, it could be 2 months, sometimes it was as little as 2 weeks to 6 months. They would have to be very thorough in that particular modality. So they had to also develop that each cancer is so unique in being able to approach it and to be able to document and to show the scans. So that once I found out about that information, I started to dig deeper.
Okay, excellent. So basically how the mat is working in general is it's helping on the cellular level.
Correct.
To remove toxins from the body, and it's those toxins that the cancer is feeding on, or how is that helping?
There's a couple aspects there, and again, so this activates, there's 3,000 immunity enzymes that are generally dormant in someone who has cancer or is sick.
Okay.
These 3,000 immunity enzymes can be activated in terms of the immunity boosting. It's an HSP protein, and it's on a 12-hour cycle, and that whenever these are appropriately being used with the infrared settings, say for example, I know people who actually used infrared saunas, and they used that treatment in addition to their toolbox. So we're really looking at a toolbox here.
Okay.
So whenever we're looking at someone who has cancer, their toolbox may be different than the next person who has their cancer therapy as well. But we want to see, what we found with the infrared is across the board, people who were using it were actually showing the scans of their tumor cells were dissolving. So,
Okay.
so
it's not just a modality that kind of helps decrease pain, like in cancer patients, but it's actually working to reverse the cancer or to actually heal it and treat it as well.
It does actually both. It actually helps with both the pain level. It drops cortisol marker levels as well, the stress hormone, and it definitely boosts the pain threshold in terms of serotonin levels and other aspects like that. So, and there's a lot of, as Linda had shared in the previous interview, there's a lot of, even amongst oncologists, I have a lot of great relationships with traditional MDs and oncologists over the time of developing the awareness about this education of the infrared, as well as some holistic MDs as well. And there's debate amongst all of different camps about what is actually causing the cancer to continue and what are the different toolbox approaches of what actually is working. So we really found to be a fan of whatever works.
Right.
Irregardless of what that is. And to always be students of what the new things in the labs are that will be introduced in 5 or 10 years from now.
Definitely. So. Well, I know that you brought one of the biomats with you. So if you want to bring it on out and show it so that way our viewers can see what it's like.
That'd be great. That'd be wonderful. So it seems at first glance as a very simplified mat and heating pad. So when I had first got one myself 9 years ago, before it became a business this last year, there's 2 different sizes, and one of the sizes is actually like a massage table or chiropractic table.
Okay.
This is a smaller one just for simplicity's sake. And what it is it's a Texas Instrument computer on the inside, and there's 3 functions to it. It works on infrared with heat, or the ions without the heat, or the infrared and the ions and the heat together. So there's 2 or 3 different aspects that someone can use it for, whether it's just for pain relief or for detoxing.
So depending on what the cancer patient's exact goal is, that kind of determines how they're going to set the mat and what protocols they're going to use with it.
Certainly.
And can you share some success stories that you know of personally, either for yourself or family members, relatives perhaps, that have had success with using the biomat?
Yes. So there have been some stage 4 cancer thrivers who are currently cancer-free, and they used infrared as part of their modality. And so what they did is they were very disciplined and about consistent use, and documented that being able to use it on a daily basis and what they were able to do. And we have actually a book of multiple cases of people who were using the infrared to be able to use it either daily or every other day for 1 hour, once or twice a day, with also the use of the consulting their oncologist or their MD. And what they did is they did it on the highest heat setting, like basically going into a sauna and going and sweating out and doing some detoxing and also pain management as well, and boosting those 3,000 immunity enzymes that are dormant.
So as they're using the mat, they'll actually have a physical reaction to it. The body warms up and they feel that heat and that release from their system as they're using it. Is that correct?
Correct, that's right.
Okay.
So if you will, imagine an aquarium that is 6 to 8 inches tall of invisible light. So it's based on a Nobel Prize in Medicine from 1991 and in conjunct with the infrared. What it's doing is it's going inside the body and it's working on mitochondrial and ATP production inside the cellular restructuring, and as well as pulling out the toxins. Well, there's actually the size that the cancer therapies use are 3 times the length of this, and also the same on top of them. So instead of going into an infrared sauna for 30 minutes to an hour, which is not necessarily not everybody is able to have an infrared sauna in their home or go to the gym.
Right.
The MDs who are Mayo Clinic trained started using this, and they used it in their clinic. And they had, imagine one 3 times the length that someone's laying on, and then they have one on top of them. And for 1 hour, they are really just marinating and soaking in this heat. And this started again with NASA, started doing this research 40 years ago, and we've just continually seen cases. And it's exciting because there's a lot of local MDs and chiropractic physicians and many other people who are starting to learn and share with this technology to be able to allow people to do their own research. And there's lots of books available that people can find out to see whether this is a tool that would be helpful for them or not.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here today and sharing this technology with us, and hopefully it'll help our viewers to be able to spread the word, and if they have cancer themselves, they'll have a different, they can look into this and take a different approach to help with their treatment and see if it's a good tool to have in their toolbox. So thanks very much for being with us, Clint.
My pleasure, thank you.
I hope you gained insight and sources of empowerment in the battle with cancer. Until next time, I am Dr. Erica with your Health Strategy.